Welcome to Geek Therapy Radio. You've got your mental curator, Johnny Hemberger. This is a great experiment in many ways. As I record this episode of the Geek Therapy Radio podcast. For one, I am recording it, if you're watching this on YouTube, into my newest tech toy, I guess. I didn't cave, but I got the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. It's been out for, I think, over a year now. I've heard nothing but rave reviews about it. I just have not been able to think about where it would fit into my kind of production flow. But the more I thought about it, the more I came to the conclusion, you know what? I'm just going to get it, and I'm going to get it on Amazon, and I will save the receipt, as they say, to see if this doesn't work in my production flow, then I can always send it back. But so far, it has been amazing. Just in brief, having 10-bit video that you can color grade later, a 1-inch sensor, and the gimbal, the 3-axis gimbal is the main star of the show here. It's changed the way that I do my run and gun video making for the museum, specifically my day job. I leave my Lumix S5 2X at home now, and I use the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 for most things, because mostly it's just run and gun type of situations. Now, if there's a planned shoot, if I know that I'm going to want the absolute, the image quality of a full frame sensor, then sure, of course, I'm going to pack my Lumix S5 into the backpack and go. But most of what we do, I realize that most of what I do day to day, at least 90% of the content that I make for the museum, the 1-inch sensor and the gimbal and the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 will more than foot the bill to cover 90% of what I do for the museum. It pairs right to my DJI mics too, seamlessly, so I get nice crispy audio out of it when I'm running and gunning. It's just a great little piece of kit, as you would call it, across the pond and elsewhere in the world. Something that I'm reminded of right now as I'm talking, and I don't know how long this podcast will be because of this issue, is that I got my wisdom teeth out last week. Almost exactly 1 week as of recording this podcast, I had my remaining 3, this one, and this one, wisdom teeth removed. And now that I'm chatting and talking, it's getting a little difficult. I can feel it getting a little bit irritated, but I'll try to go. So if this podcast is a little bit shorter than the others, it's because I had my wisdom teeth out recently, and I probably shouldn't be talking for 30 minutes nonstop stream of consciousness. But I did want to bring up another thing. I talked about the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. If you're on YouTube, you're looking at it. I've got the face tracking going on right now, and it's doing a pretty good job of tracking me, even though my face is halfway covered by the microphone sometimes. But we'll see how this all plays out. The other topic is my computer woes. I think I had mentioned, I think it did mention in the past podcast or two, that I've been having blue screens of death on my Windows PCs. I've been swapping processors and doing the whole thing. I've got this 5950X, and it was giving me blue screens, and I did a fresh install of Windows and blah, blah, blah. And then my HT PC downstairs over there was giving me problems with the 3900X. I'm happy to report that those issues seem to have resolved. On the HT PC with the 3900X, I did a clean wipe of the NVMe drive. A clean wipe, not just like let's reformat it. I did a complete long reformat, thorough reformat of that SSD, reinstalled Windows from scratch with the 3900X in the socket, fresh new thermal paste. I even reseated the RAM. I just kind of, in the HTPC, there's only 2 slots. It's a mini ITX board, but I kind of just made sure both RAM sticks were okay, and then I reseated them in opposite slots and changed it up, fresh install. As a recording, I got my fingers crossed. You can see here on YouTube, as a recording, it's been rock solid, so I think I've got that system sorted out. And the PC that I'm recording onto right now, I'm recording this podcast into, let me see if I can swivel the camera around here so you can see that I'm recording into DaVinci Resolve directly. Oh, you can see the other side of my desk. There's my Universal Audio 4710D and the Tascam interface that it's running into via light pipe and ADAT. And there's my light over there. And let me turn the camera back around. And you can see my beautiful mug again. Oh, I got to reset the face tracking because I swiveled it around. All right, so that's the rig I'm recording with. This is the 5950X. You know what? I'm going to turn the camera around since I have the freedom here with the Osmo Pocket and show you what the rig looks like. It's kind of dark, but it's in this kind of rack mount case here. 5950X inside there. I've got the RTX 3090 with its 24 gigabytes of wonderful VRAM. 3090 is still a baller in 2025. I know the 5000 series has come out, but my 3090 has not left me wanting. But this is the system that was giving me the most headache with the blue BSODs, the blue screen of death, and crashing all the time. It has been, I haven't done anything else to it other than, I think it's just kind of settled in. I think it was a Windows drivers issue. There's been a few Windows updates since then, and there's been, I downloaded and installed the latest NVIDIA drivers, clean install from scratch, and it's been stable. I don't want to say something wrong here. I'll let you know. I'm rolling the audio, obviously, also in the Osmo Pocket 3. So if my computer crashes, I'm still going to have audio from the Osmo Pocket 3 to let you know if it crashes mid-recording here in DaVinci Resolve. I'm running at a decent overclock. The system has been stable for the past several days. I've not run into random crashing. So between the Windows updates and the new NVIDIA drivers, currently things seem to be going okay. And like I mentioned, I'm running in a decent overclock mode right now. I'm at 4.525 gigahertz across all 16 cores right now. My voltage, I think it's 1.2 something. Let me double check that in Ryzen Master. So 4.525 gigahertz at 1.28125 volts. So I'm doing okay here. It's stable. That's like the maximum overclock. Under full load with the CPU cooler that I have, it's a Noctua something. I forget. It's a beefy air cooler. It is not liquid cooled. It's an air cooler. Under sustained load, I can hover around 85 degrees on this processor, which is a little high, but this is my maximum overclock settings. Obviously, just recording audio into DaVinci Resolve, the CPU is currently consuming 52 watts as I'm looking at the meter here in core temp. The temperature is 49 degrees C. I'm not pushing the system hard. It's doing just fine. But when I do push the system hard, it'll creep around 85 degrees C under full load. And again, that's the maximum all-core overclock, 4.525 gigahertz at 1 point whatever volts I just said. So usually I don't rock the system prolonged like that. I've got another setting in my Ryzen Master that has an all-core 4.2 gigahertz at like 1.1 something volts, really nice and cool. I keep my fans running nice and low, nice and quiet. But the system is stable, and that's good. Because like I had talked about in previous episodes, in my Amazon cart, I have a 7950X and an AM5 motherboard and DDR5 RAM. I was like, all right, if my system is unstable, if I can't get my main desktop stable with this 5950X, then I might just have to bite the bullet and do an upgrade. I have not upgrade platforms, obviously, since AM4. I think I built this rig in 2019 or 2020, thereabouts. So it's 2025 now. I am well within my normal parameters of, if I do a system upgrade, a big leap, I wait every 2 to 3 years. I'm on year 5 at least with this setup, and it's still going strong. It has not left me wanting. I've just recently exported a big giant 4K 30-minute long video with film grain emulation and all that going on it for the museum. It's a podcast. I'm going to plug the podcast, the Beyond the Bones podcast, HMNS Beyond the Bones podcast. You should subscribe to it. Look for the purple color scheme over there. I've been linking it in these podcast descriptions, so be sure to check it out over there. I am distracted by the pain in my mouth. It is not throbbing. It is not anything insane right now, but I think I am going to wrap this podcast up short here in a minute or two because I don't want to push it. Now, a week into it, I've taken all my antibiotics. I've taken the steroids, whatever, all the stuff they prescribe to you. I have not taken the hydrocodone. I have not needed it. And I don't like to take heavy prescriptions like that if I don't need it. Thankfully, ibuprofen and Tylenol has been handling the pain. So right now I'm just taking one Advil and one Tylenol, and that is managing the pain. And I'm only taking it as needed. But it is, as I'm talking here, they're getting a little irritated. A week into it, the sutures should have, healed nicely. They are healed nicely. Again, I'm not experiencing any problems with getting my wisdom teeth removed. I'm very happy that they're gone. But it's affecting my voice a little bit. I don't think I'm being as charismatic and as animated in this podcast, at least as I usually am, because I feel a little bit more monotone in this podcast because I'm like babying these fresh wounds, so to speak, in my mouth. When did y'all get your wisdom teeth out? I'm just curious. I'm 41 years old. I got them out at 41 years old. Normally people get them out 20 years before that. You get them out around 18, 19, 20 years old. That's when most people do. But my dentist throughout the years, he's just like, are there wisdom teeth bothering you? And I'm like, not really. And they're like, okay, well then we'll just leave them alone. I was like, but you can just, anyways, I finally got them taken out, did the general anesthesia, which is the only way, in my opinion, to do a procedure like this. Although I had one wisdom tooth removed in 2012-ish because it exploded down to the root and caused me one of the most excruciating 3 days of my life because I couldn't get to a dentist for at least 48 hours since the tooth exploded. I call it exploded because it shattered and then right down to the root, and I couldn't escape the pain I couldn't sleep for 3 days. It was unimaginable. If you're from Houston, I walked around Montrose on Monday morning, 2012 at like 7 a.m., 6:30 in the morning, just knocking on dentist doors. Can you please take this tooth out of my mouth? And they took this one, my bottom right wisdom tooth, out with just Novocaine. And in fact, as soon as they injected me with the Novocaine into my jaw, I started to fall asleep because it was the first relief I had felt in 3 days of sleeplessness and agony. But these last three wisdom teeth, general anesthesia, worth every penny to have general anesthesia, to be knocked out cold for a procedure like this. I would be okay if it was just Novocaine and some laughing gas. I've never actually had the laughing gas, never actually had nitrous. But when it was an option, it was a very nice dentist, Fort Bend Dental. Shout out Fort Bend Dental here in Missouri City, Texas, just off Highway 6. It was amazing. They're like, we do general anesthesia. And I was like, you do? Can I have that? I will pay extra for that because that sounds very nice to not feel anything. So yeah, I had that procedure done last week. I'm still managing the pain. Was there anything else that I wanted to mention? I mentioned that I'm recording here now, the video at least, with my DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and it's been a wonderful addition to my run and gun rig. It's all in my effort to minimize what I carry with me to make it lightweight and make things more effective for my content creation at the museum. The museum YouTube channel that I manage and run is now at 137,000 followers as of recording this right today. So I got the YouTube plaque for it. Let me put it right here. So that's pretty cool. I ordered a couple of them, one that we can hang up in our museum, in our office, and one for me here to put back behind me. So that's pretty cool. You're watching this on my Geek Therapy Radio channel, obviously. Come on, tracking, it lost my face. You're watching this on Geek Therapy Radio, obviously, and I am nowhere near 100,000. I have nowhere near the time or effort into this channel that is required to bring a channel to over 100,000 subscribers. But it feels good, man. Feels good to have grown a channel. When I first started at the museum, the channel was at like 3,000 subscribers, and now it's at 137,000, 136,000, whatever it is. I stopped counting day to day the subscribers, which is a weird flex. Not a weird flex, but not a flex I'd ever thought I'd be mentioning. Yeah, and like the secret sauce to that, my mouth hurts and I don't want to say so much right now. I need to end this podcast, but the secret sauce to that is, number one, keep uploading, like keep making. It's my day job. So that is what I do over there on the Houston Museum of Natural Science YouTube channel. Is you have to constantly upload, keep uploading. You have to make content. You know, I upload something probably 3 or 4 times a week at least. And then you listen to the audience and you see the videos that track well, which videos track, what subject matter tracks the most. And over on our YouTube channel, it's paleontology, dinosaurs kind of things. So I like to show people something cool. I've learned to get to the point. Like, shorts is a major reason why the YouTube channel has grown so much, and just kind of cut into the chase of content, grab them quickly and keep them. You have like 2 to 3 seconds maximum nowadays to hold somebody's attention. So don't make big, long, extended intros. Don't add a whole lot of fluff here. Like, just get to it. That's one thing. There's no magic formula. The other thing is show them something cool, educate them, show them something cool. And my personal philosophy that I've applied to our museum channel is honesty and transparency. Not every single thing that I upload to our channel over on the Houston Museum of Natural Science is the super duper highly polished material. A lot of it is, but a lot of it is also just, I let the subject or the person presenting be themselves. For instance, one of our superstars over on the channel, his name is James Washington. He's an educator at the Houston Museum of Natural Science, and the community loves James Washington, and it's just James being himself. I don't edit him down. I don't reshoot. I don't do take twos or anything with him. I just let him shine, his personality shine. He's a geek like us, and I gravitate towards that. And I just let him. I feel like I'm rubbing my head a lot, but it's just because my mouth hurts. I just let the characters, more or less, as I refer to them on the channel, be themselves. I don't hide things, and I really let the audience dictate where the content moves. There's a lot of controversy about surrounding paleontology and dinosaurs, and there's a lot of people out there, I won't mention names, that still think for whatever reason that dinosaur fossils are fake or they're a hoax or whatever. It's like, well, you know, that's actually content. Let's address the underlying issue there of why people in the year 2025 still think dinosaur fossils aren't real, or don't understand the fossilization process, or, you know, are confused why there's seashells and ocean fossils on the tops of mountains. Let's discuss scientifically why exactly that is. We have, you know, plate tectonics and uplift, and the tops of mountains used to be beaches and the bottoms of the oceans. That's why you find fish fossils and ammonites and things like that on tops of mountains, because those mountaintops used to be bottoms of riverbeds and bottoms of oceans. That's just one example, but we discuss things like that on the channel. I don't stray away from the trolls. I don't stray away from the controversy, and I just let it be real. I edit the content over there to best serve, you know, the story, and I don't hide anything. I don't, like I said, I don't really do take twos on things. I just let it be authentic. If people like it, they like it. If they don't like it, they don't like it. Turns out, in this day and age where transparency and honesty is so important, it's refreshing. I've had so many people on one of our shorts that has gotten well over 4 million views by now. It's James talking about how a Steniosaurus was fossilized in this track, or immortalizing the track of a horseshoe crab in a low oxygen environment that got fossilized. And people in the comments are just like, I had no idea that content like this still existed in modern times, with all the doom scrolling and all the fluff and all the, hey, look at me, and all the flashy stuff on YouTube Shorts and TikTok and Instagram and things like that, that there was somebody out there just doing science and telling science stories and just an engaging, real way. That we're not trying to get this super polished presenter to give this like untrustworthy take on things. It's somebody that they can trust, somebody delivering it in a very authentic, real way that people engage with. And that's my whole thing over on that channel. Is it's a science channel and it's a museum channel. Museums have this connotation of being kind of stuffy, uptight places. And I said, I'm going the opposite way with our YouTube channel. I'm going the opposite way with that. I am going against whatever people's popular opinion or belief or stereotype of a museum is. I'm going the opposite way. We're just real people who work here and have like 4.5 million cool artifacts to show you. So I'm just going to show you something cool and deliver it in an unauthentic way, and then allow you to ask questions about it in the comments, and we'll address those comments. The last podcast I just finished editing over here in DaVinci Resolve, I drew that idea for the podcast from a troll comment, from conspiracy comments. It was basically antagonist comments about dinosaurs and conspiracies, and that bones are radioactive, or that nobody can actually hunt for dinosaur fossils because it's only the elite that are allowed to look for fossils and the average person can't do it, which is all bogus. But it was that kind of trolling, misconception, conspiracy theory comment that spurred me to make an entire podcast with James Washington about where do these theories comes from. Where does the theory come from? What is this conspiracy that dinosaur bones were radioactive? At first you're saying dinosaur bones weren't real. Now you're saying dinosaur bones are radioactive and they're encased in lead, and what? Anyways, I draw content ideas from that kind of interaction, and that's what the last podcast is. It's not released yet. As of recording this Geek Therapy Radio podcast, the podcast dealing with dinosaur and paleontology conspiracies and misconceptions, that'll drop on March 1st. But yeah, that's what I'm doing over there at the museum. Really starting to hurt talking now. I think that's pretty much it. I've got this little bug in my head about I have enough laptops. I've got enough computers, but there's a little bug in my head saying maybe trade down the MacBook Pro 16-inch for a MacBook Pro 14-inch, like a used M1 MacBook Pro 14-inch in an effort to keep reducing my load for my everyday carry. But I'll cross that bridge when we come to it. It hasn't been a huge necessity right now. It hasn't reared its head as this big necessity. This Osmo Pocket has dropped a pound at least from my everyday carry because it's way lighter, obviously, than my where is it? My S5 2X. Oh, it's down here. It's down here. I can show you off mic a little bit. I've even got the lens cap. So this is it's just a lens cap. This is just a not a lens cap, a camera body. Why am I blanking on the name? It's just a cover to cover the sensor, but it has this disposable camera lens built into the cover here. So on a quick pinch, I can whip this out and take pictures or video real quick and have it look like an old 90s disposable camera, because that's exactly what that lens is. But I don't carry this every day. I haven't been for the past few weeks because this Osmo Pocket 4 that I'm recording with has foot the bill. Here's the other YouTube button that's going to the museum. It is unopened. Is my address on there? Hopefully not. It's going to the museum. That's what we'll hang up. But time's winding down here. My mouth's starting to hurt. I got to go pick up my sons at daycare. So thank you so much for watching this episode of Geek Therapy Radio. Even with I feel like I've been a little bit subdued in my delivery in this episode. We are our own worst critic. I am my own worst critic in this scenario. But anyways, thank you for hanging with me. You are worthy of love. You're worthy of giving love. You're worthy of receiving love. And you are worthy of your own self-respect. Thank you so much for listening today. I'll see you next time. Take care.